Going on, guys, coming to you from the world famous Stub Cycles in beautiful Houston, Texas. And oh yeah, look who I get to hang out with again, guys. This is one of my favorite motorcycles to ride, Suzuki GSX8R. This is one of the very first motorcycles that I ever did a ride and review on. And I don't mean the GSX8R, I mean this exact GSX8R. Now, the reason why I wanted to revisit this machine, a little bit self-serving on my part, I will admit, but it's because I have recently ridden Honda's CB750 Hornet. So, does the GSX8R still have what it takes to be my favorite parallel twin? What sets them apart? Well, we're going to talk about that while we take this bike for a ride. Greeted with a good looking TFT screen. We're in A1 mode, so the most aggressive. Enough jibber jabber, let's get going. Before I get too far, I want to send a huge shout out to Hunter, Tommy, and the rest of the gang at Stub Cycles for allowing me to bring this motorcycle to you. Please forgive my bias. This is still one of my favorite bikes to ride. So, 776cc parallel twin. Very torquey bike to ride, guys. The thing about this machine is that it's not about outright power. The spec sheet will lie to you about what this motorcycle is like to ride. As far as how much does it weigh, it weighs what it weighs. Power, about 80 horsepower, give or take, to the rear tire. That's all fine and good. Here's the thing, the way that the 776 makes power compared to the Honda CB750 platform, also a parallel twin, this engine is a archetypical parallel twin in its output. I almost think of it more like a stereotype, in that it makes a lot of power down low in its RPM range. Here we're just kind of cruising along at very slow highway speeds in 6th gear in just a little twist of the throttle, and this bike just motors around traffic. There is no waiting for torque production with this machine whatsoever. And that's a little bit different than the CB750. The CB750 likes to use its entire tachometer, and it prefers to be on the far right-hand side of that. But this bike, and you're welcomed with this really fun intake snort. Hopefully that's coming over on camera. It's just such an endearing bike to ride because of how it makes power. It's not ever overwhelming. It's not ever crazy surprising, outside of the fact that it may be putting down more power than you had originally thought that it would at lower revs. This engine gives the impression that, well, it just acts like a bigger engine at lower RPM. Now, there is a trade-off for that. Where the Honda does a really good job is going to be at the higher RPM, where the Honda engine, much more over square. And what that basically means is that it likes to rev. Doesn't really make power down low, makes more of its power up top. It's a twin that is kind of got a bit of an identity complex. It thinks it's a 4-cylinder, and that is not a knock on the bike. It's actually a compliment. The Honda does make great power all the way out to redline. Oh, but where this bike does so well is through that mid-range. Oh, it's just that tip-in throttle response. And I like the quick shifter on this bike too. So it does have an up and down quick shifter. The thing is though, it feels very solid. It feels like it clicks and clicks into gear. Very agricultural feeling. And I like that. It's got a very positive feel. You have to commit a little bit, but it does shift nicely once you get it into gear and you're moving through the gears. All right, let's get this thing on the highway. All right, here we go. Nice quick shifter. This bike will scoot, guys. But again, it's really not about outright power with this bike. It's about just having something sporty, something that's responsive, and that's exactly what this machine is. And if you're comparing the two, I don't know that power delivery could be any further different than with the GSX8R and the Hornet 750. Yeah, I mean, even at low speeds, again, we're in 6th gear. Some might even consider this, you know, we're less than half of the RPM capacity of this bike. You'd almost call it lugging it. And it just motors forward. I love that about this bike. Such a fun machine, so rewarding to ride. But it's a tough call. You have to be honest with yourself if you're choosing between the two bikes as to what is important to you. If all the time accessible throttle response and torque response, if that's important to you, then the GSX8R is going to be the bike for you. GSX8S also. Or the V-Strom. Love the V-Strom. But I think you get the idea. If, on the other hand, you find yourself wanting to push further and further to the right-hand side of that tachometer, maybe the Honda would be a better bike for you. Personally, I mean, you see the bike that I'm on, right? Oh, I love that. It's such an overachiever, this engine is, at lower RPM. It makes it just a bit more rewarding to ride in normal, everyday circumstances. Zero need to downshift to get a nice shove when you turn the throttle. And again, how this gearbox works with this quick shifter up and down, I gotta say, it's really good because it is so positive feeling. You know, some of them have a little bit of a spongy feel to it. That's not this motorcycle at all. So overall, do I still love it? Yeah, I kind of do. It's an extremely endearing motorcycle to ride. Great for folks of all sizes too. So to give you an idea, just shy of 6 feet tall, 32-inch inseam. I am fully on the balls of my feet. One thing about this bike is that it is very narrow down here in the hip line. So if you are a smaller framed rider, this motorcycle is going to fit you very well. That narrowness in the hips is going to help you, especially at low speed. It's going to help you have a better grip on the bike, a bit more control. So again, great bike for folks of all shapes and sizes. So what I want to illustrate for you guys is I want to run this thing to the back of Stubbs Harley Davidson. And we're going to play around a little bit on the MSF Course, just to illustrate how easy this machine is to move around. Go to our favorite little S-turn. We come flying into this thing. Brake, brake. Here we go. Look at that. This is easy as it could be. This bike is so easy. It's so placeable. It's just a fun, all-around machine that, with its playful nature, but yet still planted on the freeway, you get the best of a lot of different features with this bike. It's sporty, but it's not overly committed. It's plenty powerful to have fun with, but not so powerful as to be overwhelming. It's just a fun, great bike all the way around. I love the way it sounds. So with that, guys, the Suzuki GSX8R. Oh my goodness, do I still love it as much as I did before? Yeah, I do. Look, this is a really fun bike to ride. You know, it's just one of those feel-good kind of machines that you just want to make up excuses to take it for a spin. It's never a kind of bike where you're going to want to go blasting through canyons, although you could. But this bike is just as happy just goofing off, playing around in town. God, I just can't say enough things about this bike. Do I like it more than the Hornet 750 though? You know, for me, this would be the bike. For others, I understand you like the bit more of the high RPM performance out of the Hornet. I like the initial, immediate, instant gratification of the torque that this 776 parallel twin gives. Either way, you can't go wrong. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing ended up in my garage. I love riding this bike so much. Guys, with that, I'm going to check out. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope to catch you on the next one. Take care.